An important medical decision from a member of our GMA family, a talent booker. Paige More was just 22 years old when she learned she had the BRCA gene mutation that made her chances of getting breast cancer before the age of 40 47 times more likely.
I was 22 when I took the BRCA test.
If you test positive for the BRCA1 gene, the lifetime risk to develop breast cancer can be up to 85%.
My doctor said, "I'm really sorry, you're BRCA1." It really did not hit me in that moment. It didn't hit me for at least another year.
When people have an increased risk for breast cancer because of one of these predisposition genes, we talk about several different strategies that they may use to manage that risk.
The two that really stood out to me that I knew, okay, these are my two choices. I could either go into high surveillance programs where you're in and out of doctor's offices every 6 months, you're doing MRIs, you're doing mammograms. I really felt like it wasn't surveillance and it was more just waiting to get cancer. I felt like every single day I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm gonna get cancer today. It just completely consumed me in a way that I'd never felt before. My other option was I could have a preventative double mastectomy, and that's what I did.
We also discussed the fact that she didn't have to do it right now. Even with a BRCA1 mutation, the risk for developing breast cancer in the decade of the 20s is still quite low. But she was very convinced and very confident in the decision that she ultimately made.
I remember thinking, I'm gonna have to do this at some point. I'm strong and I'm healthy and I'm cancer-free right now.
She's on her bed in recovery, and I remember leaning over her bed, and the enormity of what she had done really hit me. Holding her hand and thinking, thank you so much for doing this. You did this for yourself, but you really did this for us too. It was a big moment.
I'm so glad that I did it when I did it, but there's a huge part of it that comes that I wasn't necessarily ready for. I've never had anxiety in my life, and now I have an overwhelming sense of anxiety. It's not all the time. It comes randomly. So learning how to deal with that has been really difficult.
I hope she can be the inspiration to other people that she is to me. I couldn't love her more. Now I have you along for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have met so many amazing people because of this. I walked in New York Fashion Week. It was the first time in history that it was all people walking who had been affected by breast cancer in some capacity. I decided to have the double mastectomy because I wanted to be a warrior, and I didn't want to be a worrier. I wanted to take control of my life. I wanted to give myself the opportunity to beat cancer before I ever got it, or before it got the chance to beat me.
And Paige and Dr. Christy Funk, co-founder of the Pink Lotus Breast Center, are joining us now. And Paige, I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for being so brave and sharing your story. We know how difficult the surgery is. This is not easy, and it's a lifetime decision. You went to Dr. Funk for advice. Dr. Funk, tell me what you told Paige.
Well, I was on set, and she pulled me aside. We were in the green room sitting there. You just found out. You hadn't even seen your own doctors yet. And I basically sized you up in 2 seconds flat as a no-nonsense, these breasts are not going to take me down kind of girl.
Exactly.
So we talked about roads of surveillance or surgery, and she wanted the surgery.
How rare is it to be tested this young and to find this information out at 22?
It's infrequent. As the BRCA gene is getting more understanding out in the general population, we're finding women younger and younger, and they need to make this decision that Paige made.
And the interesting thing is, a lot of people think that this is a female disease passed on from female to female, but Paige found out that it was her father who was the carrier. Why is this important for women to know?
So important. So your DNA is half from your father. So mom and dad's side, first, second, and third generations back, you want to think young, multiple, rare. So young, cancer's happening prior to age 50 in the family. Multiple, 2 or more family members with breast, ovarian, pancreas, prostate. And finally, rare, having a male breast cancer, ovarian, pancreatic, these are uncommon.
We heard from Paige's doctor saying she didn't have to have the double mastectomy right away, but I know what it's like when you think, you know, I got to get this off now.
I was ready.
Right? You were ready. How do you weigh that decision as to when you get the surgery, and is there an advantage to doing it when you're younger?
Right. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. You have to individualize it to the woman in front of you. what matters to her most in terms of her priorities. How does the cancer family history affect her perception of risk? Does she want to breastfeed? Is she in a stable relationship? Is she emotionally ready and mature enough to handle a permanent, irreversible thing like mastectomy?
It is a permanent thing. We're reminded of it every day, that the feelings that you lose, sensations that you lose, it is something.
It's a huge decision.
Right, when you hear that, I always say when I felt the shower hit me, I would cry because it would be so obvious to me that I had gone through this horrific thing. You went out and reached out on Instagram, social media. Got a lot of support out there?
So much support. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful I'm raising so much awareness for survivors. You know, we can do this.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Paige. Thank you so much, Dr. Funk.